Hi, this is Stephen, and thank you so much for tuning into the String Doctor. This is our very first episode of videos aimed at the DIY guitar player to do their own repair, modifications on their own instruments, and eventually get into amplifiers too, hopefully. This is aimed at the DIY player who is trying to save some money on repair work and instrument setup. And so this is one that I just recently acquired. It's a 2011 or 12 Telecaster. It's pretty nice shape, pretty ash body. It's got a few flaws here and there, but it's not bad shape. And all this is the finished product after we've cleaned it up. Changed the pickguard out. Well, if I can pick it up. When I got my hands on it, it had this tortoiseshell pickguard. Just not my cup of tea and all. Both my Strat and my other Telecaster all have black guards on it. It's just kind of my taste. Well, we're going to get into some of the techniques of the cleanup, the string change, and the setup. It had 10s on it when I got my hands on it. I'm lazy. I got 9s to feel a little bit better, so it had to have another setup and proper tuning. There will be links below of all the tools and everything that I use today. So if you'd like to purchase it and all, everything's available on Amazon. Very simple. But anyway, hopefully we can avoid some of the trial and error that I've experienced over the years. We apply these techniques that work for me. They save a few dollars, and hopefully enjoy working on your own instrument, get it to playing better and feeling better, and be a better guitar altogether. So let's get into this now, and I hope you enjoy this. Please let me know in the comments. Please be gentle on me, as this is my first YouTube video ever. Still learning how to edit, learning how to record, and all those kind of good things. And let's enjoy this together, and hopefully we'll learn something today. Thank you. Okay, we're getting right into this. First thing to do is get the strings off of this thing. So first thing to do is get some of the tension off of them. And there'll be links of everything on the description of tools that we use. But this little guy right here, it's just a simple little string winder. No, this is an old Dr. Duck's thing or something. I've had it forever. But there'll be links to these things. They fit in a little, just a typical cheap electric screwdriver. You don't want to use a drill because obviously it turns too fast, but this turns the right speed for that. And you just stick it on here very simply and just take the tension off the strings. You would turn it backwards. Typically the way to tighten up a screw, you'll be going the wrong way. Just simply cut this to loosen out your strings. Just take a second and just get all the pressure off of them. Okay, once you've gotten pretty much all the pressure off of them, now you're about ready to cut your strings off. If you don't have one of these type of string winders, the old traditional one that turns with a crank or whatever, there'll be a link to one of those. They're a lot cheaper than buying an electric screwdriver and the actual string winder like this. They work well too. It's still a lot less work to do it the hard way, twisting it with your wrist, wearing out your fingers, your hands, and get too tired to do anything. Okay, next tool that you'll need to change your strings is some sort of side cutters. Something simple, like little small ones like this that doesn't get in the way. And just pretty much don't try to cut them all at once. Just generally I like to grab a string, maybe 2 at a time with the smaller ones, and just clip them off somewhere in the middle. And I missed one. And typically I'll unwind them off of the headstock first. Be careful, don't let them spring back and poke in your finger, because that will make you have a bad day. Yes, I say that from experience. Okay, there's those. Move off to the side. And then just lift the guitar up. You can put it here. Of course, this is Tele, so they just stick through the back. My Strat's the same way. You got to pull the tremolo cover off sometimes to get to it on the back, but pretty much change the same way. Okay. Now that we've got this thing loose, first order of business is going to be to clean the neck up on it. Usually clean the neck up. This is pretty good. It's not too bad dirty. Here's the first thing that I'll do is get a little bit of rubbing alcohol, an old rag. This is terry cloth, piece of t-shirt. This is an old sock. Don't worry, I did wash the sock first. Put it there to load. Just put some rubbing alcohol on it. I don't know the history of this guitar. Don't know how much it's been played, but typically this is the first few frets where it gets played the most. Just give you an idea. Let's rub on it just a little bit. It's not, this guitar's not too bad. A lot cleaner than I expected it to be. too bad. Not a lot of dirt showing up. But our alcohol's nice. This stuff dries quickly, and you don't have to worry about any residue when you clean it up. So for just a couple of minutes, let's pause it here. And when I come back, I'll be through cleaning. Well, now that we've flipped it around, got the strings off, got the neck pretty nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and take this pick guard off because I have every intention of changing it. Already pulled most of the screws out, but in pulling the screws out, I noticed we got a little bit of an issue here. I had one missing screw. We'll find out why in just a second here. And let's see what's going on here with this guy. That. Oh, it's a newer one, larger cavity for humbucker. Cool. That means that with that cavity being enlarged for a humbucker, that's probably a project that's going to take place before too long. And so I'm going to put a black pick guard on this thing and probably put a neck humbucker, maybe a Fender, maybe a Gibson PAF type, kind of a Albert Collins kind of thing. And when we do, we'll put a push-pull pot here in the tone of the volume on the T where we can modify it a bit. Okay. We're getting that going. Looks nice. We're going to take a rag. We already wiped off most of this with alcohol. We're going to take our rag with alcohol and wipe everywhere the pick guard was at. And kind of just mess off of that before we do a proper cleanup on the thing. We'll get it back together. Okay, let's get our pick guard. Well, this pick guard is signed by the members of Steelwood, a southern rock band that I like a lot. That's Jason Rowdy Cope, who plays the Telecaster, one of the greatest newer guitar players I've ever heard. Wes Bayless, the lead singer. That's Jay Took, the drummer, and Johnny Stanton, the bass player. Great bunch of guys, like southern rock. Check it out. Just give you an idea how that'll look with a black guard on it. My other two guitars, both my Strat and my Tele that I built, that we'll talk about later on, also have black pick guards on. I've got a thing for black pick guards. And the fact this was signed by one of my favorite bands makes it a little cooler too. Okay, well, I've noticed one issue here, if I can pick the thing up, is this is for a more traditional one where the pickup screws into the body. This body of the cavity is too deep for that. This guy has holes in it, so therefore, I'm going to have to line it up like this. And from there, I'm going to have to drill 2 holes in it. Thank for all the other holes, line it perfectly. So that's not a huge issue. We can do that. I know this back camera ain't gonna block here. We can do that. But that's not a large issue. So in order to do that's one thing you're running most Fender pick guards, which this is a Fender one, and this is a factory Fender one here. But most factory Fender pick guards are not going to have these holes drilled. So if you want to mount the pickup a more traditional, or not a more traditional, in the modern manner like this, you're going to be stuck with lining these things up and drilling them out. We'll get to that in a second. This hole here, this was the issue. Let's get one of these pick guard screws. Let's see here. Just as I thought. There's the issue. We have a stripped hole here. Well, just for that, we keep something handy on this table. Just for that sort of thing. And this, just a precision tool, precision instrument, the vulnerable toothpick, and some super glue. Okay? I will show you how I do this typically. I'll take a pair of flush cutters, not my regular cutters. See, lay these guys down flush and they'll cut flat with whatever you're cutting on. Okay. First thing I'll do is stick it down this way, and this is not a very deep hole, so that's a good thing. And let's put it here flush. I'm going to grip it where I'm cutting off down the hole, and just give me a nice simple cut like that. Let's see how much bigger the hole is. It's not very big, so therefore. Then I take a drop of super glue like this. Dirty on the tip, isn't it? Take a drop of super glue and get it down the hole. Don't need a lot, just a little bit. And then leave the pointed end up. That's the way I like to do it. Everybody does it a little differently. Stick it all the way down the hole there, okay? There. Then I'll put a little more super glue on this guy. Okay. Take the point of the one that's left. A little more glue on it there. Stick it down there pretty forcibly. Like that. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it off flush. Like that. Wipe the glue off of my pliers. I'm going to take the tip of another one yet. And a tiny spot of glue on that. And put the tip of one more in there. It's just a quick fix. I mean, a really correct way would be to drill it out and put a dowel rod in it and do it that way. Maybe a small piece of ash even. But we're not talking about a vintage 1951. We're talking about a mass-produced Mexican Telecaster. Not going to be worth a ton of money in a few years. That's about it. Okay. Now we're going to leave that and set it just to dry for a few minutes. Now, I'll take the pick guard, like so. And I'm going to take my pickup screws. They're a little bit larger diameter. And just kind of slide them through the holes here. And pick up the one that I dropped. Put it through here. And all the holes line up nicely, except for those two. So what am I going to do to hold it still? Good old masking tape. And you will see the stuff again. I don't need a lot. Just a small amount, like this. Just something to hold it still and get it right. And that's it for my tablet. Okay. Getting back to our pick guard, drilling our hose. I'm just going to set this off where it's kind of hanging off the table on one side. Taking the drill bit. This is the same size as the hole and a regular battery powered drill. Line this thing up on slow speed. Real simple. Pull that flash out of there. Nice hole there. Okay. Then we'll flip around the other way and just repeat the exact same process. There's the excess. Get your screws up. Pull the tape off with you. Set the turtle shell off to the side somewhere. Out of my way. Okay. Holes look nice. I think I can make one a tiny bit nicer. Just from pushing back. And that's about it. We'll set the drill to the side for a second. See how our screws fit perfectly. Nice. Now, okay. Well, that's that. We are going to go ahead and put these guys back on. Everything. Okay. Now, getting back to what we're doing here. We'll put our pick guard back on. Real simply put. Little rubber things that Fender started using later years under the pickup. Pick up in that. The older ones, of course, have a spring down up underneath. Okay. It's always the fun part. Screw in here. Get the rubber piece on, get it lined up. And clean your parts up. Remember, the whole point of this was to clean up, right? Anyway, take your pickup like this, throw a piece on the back, and line it up. I'm hoping I've got that in the camera. And turn it a couple times, get it started well. And good in there. Okay. Same thing over here. Kind of start the screw a little bit. see it. Throw a piece started like that. And again, this is a lot easier with the pick guard out of the guitar, obviously. So when you adjust your pickups, make your primary adjustment. We got no screw sticking out of the bottom like that. Pay attention to that primary adjustment when it's together. Don't ever loosen the plastic, because if they fall down in it, well, guess what? You're stuck pulling strings off, and you got a stinking mess you got to fix, and that always sucks. So I figured I'd pick that up. Make sure your wires aren't twisted. Make sure it's in there straight, and then looking pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot. We have still got to fix that, don't we? Let's set this guy off the side. Now, a typical hobby knife with a number 11 blade in it. Very simply, very easily. So trim that off right there. If you want to clean that up with some sandpaper and all, you can, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to see that. So we can kind of get away with that. I know, I'm not supposed to say that, but you can. Okay. Now, this is a 5/64 bit. It might even be a tiny bit too small, but we shall see, won't we? Okay, I am a couple of screws that came out pick guard. I've got a few extra ones here, and we're going to start a couple of them. And just go. Get some of the pretty ones, the new ones. You know, they look nice. Might as well, right? These are actually the heads a little bit better. These actually need a number 2 bit for. They do look nice, and the holes fit the pick guard nicely. If you go with factory parts, they're usually drilled pretty well, even if it's an 8-hole or an older 5-hole type, and they fit pretty well. Anyway, that's enough to keep it still. Make sure everything is all good with the world. All the others seem to be lining up very well. Now we're going back to this 5/64 bit, and I've got to clutter my workbench to put some of this stuff. 5/64 bit, and I like to use my hands to line it up before I get a drill hold of it. Just kind of turn it a few times. Make me a nice pilot hole out of it. And then I didn't get a great pilot hole. I know this is riveting to watch here. Got a pretty nice pilot hole. Take the pick guard off again. I know it's kind of boring, but oh well. You get good at it. Okay. It's just the way I do it. There may be a better way to do this than this, but actually this is the way that I do this. Now, all screws back out. Remove the pick guard. We're going to friend lay it off the side here. Okay, take your bit. A piece of that trusty masking tape again. You don't need much, tiny amount. Okay, looking at it here. See how deep that screw's got to go? Typically about right there. And let's put a flag on here. like that. Okay, see, tip of the screw is about the end of that. Now, get our trusty drill again. Once again, drill's on slow speed. Okay, we're gonna line up that hole where we started up. And don't scratch the guitar, stupid. Line it up slowly. Just checking my work. Slowly get into the side. And that's it for the hole repair. Get this off of it. Again, take our rag, wipe it off good. Just final thing before you put it back on. Major smudges around or anything like that. And let's put the pick guard back on. Alright. Pause this just a second, and when we come back, I will have it flipped around and I'll talk about one of my favorite products in the world that I've been using forever, and we will get this thing put back together. Okay, now let's go back to cleaning up our frets and getting everything ready. These don't look bad overall, but typically when I'm putting strings on a guitar, I'll go through my frets and polish them a little bit and clean them up just a little bit. These have got a few little gouges in here and there, nothing I can really hang my fingernail in. They're not bad, but this guitar, played a year or two, it's probably going to need a fret job on it, but that's okay. Now, going back to our trusty blue masking tape, and you just typically want to tape right up against all of them that you can, as close as you can. And use the blue masking tape. Don't ever use regular green or yellow masking tape because it sticks too well. This is painter's tape. It's a low tack tape. If you use a high tack tape, it can pull the finish off the neck, especially more heavily varnished. When this is more of a satin finish, it's not too bad. And but it's not too bad at all. But anyway, you'll go all the way down the neck, just like this. On every fret. And just stick it pretty good. It ain't got to be stuck great. Doesn't have to be taped all the way around the edge or anything like that. Get it where it's easy to pull off. Just use your knife and cut it and take it off like that. Obviously, when you get down these frets, you're going to run into a little bit of a problem. You are going to have too much tape, obviously, and not enough guitar. So, I would just start with that one, of course. That kind of thing. But then when you get down to here, let's just say on the 12th fret, for instance. I'm up against number 11. I'll come down here, and the 12th fret is nothing but just tape it up close like that. Obviously, cut your tape off. Just where you get in here really close, really carefully, and that's where that sharp knife comes in. Give her a nice easy cut right on the edge of the fret. Right. Just pull off your excess. It doesn't have to necessarily be perfectly right up against it. The whole point of it is just to keep from rushing it with a steel wool, because you don't want to scratch up your fretboard, obviously, because that would strip a lot of stuff. Okay. I'm going to pause this for just a second. When we come back to it, we will have the whole thing taped up, and I'll show you how to dress the frets up a little bit with some steel wool or some super fine grit sandpaper at it. But then the whole thing of the do-it-yourself kind of thing, a whole bag of triple aught steel wool is just a few dollars, and you start buying the little specialized sanding pads. They're $5, $6, and $8 a piece, and you need different grits, and the steel wool will pretty well do what you want it to do. So hang loose, and we'll be right back. Okay, now the neck is taped up. We're going to polish the frets and clean them up a little bit. They're not the best in the world, but we're going to clean them up anyway. They're not super nasty or grungy or anything, but they still got a film over them. I'm going to use steel wool, kind of the DIY thing. It's the cheapest tool that you can buy. I've got kind of a love-hate relationship with it. I like how it works, don't like the mess it leaves behind and stuff, but for this purpose it's great. So what you want to do is just real simple, just give them a nice polish, not a crazy amount of pressure. Just enough to leave a little bit of an abrasive on, just work them back and forth. Really just get them nice and shiny. You don't see any dark spots left in them. Nothing special. We're going to leave the tape on here, and we'll polish them out here in just a minute. But just simple polishing like that, just keep working them till you get all the kind of the dark spots on them. Just get them where they're real shiny. And you have to take another light and kind of shine it up close on them and stuff to get them shiny. We'll stop the video for just a second, and when we pick it back up, we'll have all these polished, or all these cleaned up and shined up with a steel wool. We'll put some polish on them to keep them from tarnishing again. Okay, now we got them nice and clean. We're going to polish them out a little bit while the tape's still on here. We're going to get this all over the neck. But this stuff is an automotive product called Eagle One Neverdol. They still make this stuff. It's got a different label and everything on it now. It will be in the description if you want to buy a can of this. I think it's around $8 or $9 for a can of it. It lasts forever. This can's at least 20 years old. You know, this stuff looks kind of like a rat bed inside here, but it's got polish down the side of it. You can kind of see how shiny it is. You kind of feel it if you can't see it. But you dig down, get some of the better stuff out of the bottom of it, where it's a little bit more wet, I guess you could say. You know, just take a small piece of it, like it's almost like a rag, and just polish them just like you would any other metal with it. Rub it in real good. You can kind of see the residue of it. There's quite a bit in there. And just simply put, I'll generally work 2 or 3 of them at a time like this. And just work it into it. Doesn't take a crazy amount because when we oil our fretboard, we won't have to worry about it as much either. And another just a clean, simple old rag. Piece of t-shirt, old sock. All this clean, don't take it off your foot. Just polish them out like that. See if you can see those. They're nice. They feel nice. And once you've done all of them, just go ahead and pull the tape off the neck, and just be ready to start putting strings on this thing. So I'm going to take a quick break from the video again to finish polishing these things out and clean them up. And like I said, we just acquired this guitar. I'm not doing this just for show. I've got to do this anyway. So I might as well show someone else how to do it and how I do it, and save a few dollars and do it yourself. Hang loose and I'll be right back. Okay. We're back again. Got the frets on nice and polished out. They feel a lot better. Neck's nice and clean. Most guitars been wiped down with rubbing alcohol. It's nice and clean. Got all the grungy stuff off of it. Hopefully all the old oils and stuff out of it. Someone else put it when they played it. Time for me to get it dirty now. I want to talk about a product I have been using forever. This bottle is called Dr. Duck's Axe Wax. I kind of like it because it's fun to say the name. But this stuff here, let's see what it says. Dr. Duck's Axe Wax and String Lube. Contains no wax, no abrasives, no synthetics, no silicones, no acids for all musical instruments. It says maintaining the bridge 1 axe at a time. Directions for cleaning and polishing. Use a few drops, very little, on a cotton cloth, or put directly on the instrument and rub it in. Let it set a few minutes and buff it out. It never dries. If it feels a little greasy, you're not done buffing. When done, you get full luster. For hard to clean spots, repeat rubbing in a circular motion. It says directions for string lube, or on with a small cloth and wipe off the excess with a dry cloth. And directions for string friction, lube with a small cloth, all contact points for each string. Anyway, apparently it's supposed to be a cure-all. All I know is that I really like it on a fretboard because of the way it cleans it up and stuff. Again, so really simple stuff. Another, just a cotton rag again. And we don't put much on here at all. If we just put like a little, squeeze a little dime. So this bottle has been around here for, I don't know, 10 years. And you see how much has gone out of the bottle. And then I use it every time I string a guitar. Okay, we got just a little bit. I'm gonna rub a little bit on, a little bit excessively to start with. And kind of buff it in just a little bit. Being a maple neck, as hard as a rock, so it's not gonna soak in like it would on a piece of rosewood. But for example, I've got a strap neck here. On the strap neck, see the difference in contrast right now. Okay. we just do it from this fret here, or this between these two frets. So you rub it in good on that rosewood. We'll let it soak down in there. Let that set just a second. Dry part of my rag and start buffing this one up. And you see it's already made a difference in this. That's completely dry. And it's not a lot shinier, but you can feel the difference. There's a lot less friction on it. And that's the actual set looks here. That's set for just a second. I'm drying up. That in good. Okay, that's completely dry. And look at it directly. You can't really see it, but that feels dry. That does not. Really good stuff. It's good for all wood. You can polish the back of it. Use the entire guitar and clean it up with it. Really good stuff. Like I said, been used forever. This model's like $10. It's paid for itself 100 times. Really good stuff. I would use it anytime. Okay. Well, I'm going to finish cleaning this thing up, and when we come back, we'll put some strings on it. Okay. Ready to put some strings on this thing. It had 10s. I'm putting a set of 9s on it. In my southern accent, I'm probably going to botch this. I think you pronounce them D'Addarios. I've been using these for years on all my electrics. They're not a very expensive set of strings. I'm sure there's more expensive stuff out there. Of course, Ernie Ball, the Paradigms, they call it, supposed to be the toughest thing in the world. Elixirs, they're supposed to have a nice feel to them. I've never played them. I don't know that much about them myself. But I like these. These are pretty happy medium. You might like Ernie Balls, just whatever you like. But like I said, we're going to change to a set of 9s. That's going to need resetting up. Going to need an intonation set. We'll get into all that and show exactly how to do that. Let's tear into these. These are package where they're color coded. It tells you what each string is with these. If you've never used these before, instead of being an individual pack, I guess they're trying to save the environment. Not sure how you save the environment using plastic over paper. You can recycle the paper, but that's another story. If you get them out, they're all packaged together. And I like to start with the first string, or my high E, which would be the silver ended string here. We'll get these unraveled. Kind of show you how to do these as we wrap. I'm not gonna. All right, here's the first string for the high E. Pick it up with Telecaster. Run it through the body. All right. Okay. Pull it up here. I'm gonna put it under the roll riser for now. All right. I like to go about 2.5 over, so that's about 1. And that's probably about 2. That's maybe 2.5. Maybe about twice the distance between the peg heads, the top of it on my first string. Again, get your side cutters. Never use flush cutters for this because you'll ruin your cutter. Use these. That's why we don't use super expensive stuff too. A regular tuner like these. We just want to start it, push just a little bit through, then you don't have to clip it off. And you start winding it. Wrap it around a few times, make sure you go below your winding, keep it good and straight. I'll use the guide because I cheat. And this is where the manual string winder comes in. You guys have one of these are wonderful. I'm going to lay this table where I can get to it better. And just wind that string. We used to call these wrist savers because they beat the crap out of doing it the hard way. Okay, that one started good. I'm going to use my electric screwdriver for the sake of time. Okay, so that's on there. Everybody's preference is a little different with that. But I like to get a good 4, 5, or 6 winders of the high string on it where I know it's not going to slip. And I don't have to worry about it coming out of tune because I don't have enough string on it. Okay, the second string is a purple, which was conveniently right next to it. Again, going repeat that process. Use my head. You just pull it all the way through on the back of the guitar. And again. Okay, again. Put up under the guide. This time I'm going to go 1, 2, a little over 2 past, not quite 2.5 like we did before. Yeah. Cut this guy off. So, and again, start it very much the same way. Just leave just enough hanging out to catch. Then you're not having to cut any string off. Oh, make sure you go under it. Like so. There. I've gotten it started there. I'm going to use my winder to save my fingers. Okay, I've got it started. Again, I'm going to use my trusted tool if I use the clip. Oh, one thing I didn't show on the camera was cleaning this thing up. You should always clean that out. You can just use a little small piece of string or something to clean it out with. It was a little dirty. And okay. All right, we got our first 2 on. Let's see what is. Okay, here's the colors a little bit better. All right, G string is green. And of course the D will be the black. They're right here together. There we are. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Green one. G for green, right? Again, push this guy through your 3rd string hole. Right here. Feed it through as well as you can with one hand. Switch hands here. And pull it all the way up. Table. Make sure I'm within shots here. Alright, make sure it's pulled up all the way again. Getting home. This time, we're going to do just a tiny bit over 2. Pretty much as if it was just stood right there. Again, our cutters. Starting it right here. One round around it. Just kind of pulling it tight to get started. Okay. Up to our 4 string. Hopefully, repeat the process and know what's going on. We're going to go about 1 and not quite the other on this one. See that? Almost 1.5. A little over 1.5 actually. Cut this guy off. Now we're getting to the fun part. The fun part of putting strings on is when you're almost done putting strings on. Someone says they enjoy this part. They really should get a lot. Not much fun. Again, we got a good 2.5 windings on that, which should be plenty. All right, finally, A would be the red one in the set. Along with, of course, the low E string's the last one. Spectacular. Watching the string disappear in the hand. 1.5. There we go. 1.5, 1 3/4. Somewhere in there. And cut this guy off. But I generally use both. Okay. Here we're on the last one, number 6. I'm gonna go 1 and pretty much a half again. Right there at it, maybe a tiny bit less. Just what tends to work for 9s. Most all my electrics have 9s on them, so. This guy in here. All right, guys. Well, we've got strings on it now. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Now we're finally ready to tune this thing. I really like these little electric tuners. Of course, they make a million different runs. These Snart tuners, this is the first one I ever bought. I don't know if you see the display in it. It's pretty weak. You can kind of see it a little bit. But it makes like a sweep here instead of, it's actually picking up my voice. See, it's picking up the different tones or whatever now, but it's supposed to pick up vibrations. You know, this guy's a little old, a little bit dead. This is the new one called a Snart Super Tight Tuner. And you see how the display works on here. It also has a metronome in it too, if you want to use the metronome. Well, all we do is flip it on. It's a chromatic tuner, and we want to tune our E string. Right. Works off the vibration. And what's cool is you can set the intonation with this too. Really easy. Anyway, first thing I want to do in the setup, of course, is get it tuned. Now, run through them again. They're flat. It'll give you a straight up green light when you're tuning like that. I mean, obviously the string's got to stretch and everything, be tuned several times, but it's really simple to tune with this thing, and we will use it some more in the intonation. All right, we just got one more change we're going to make on this thing before we get into the setup. It's these black knobs that someone has added now. They don't look like a poor quality knob, but they're just not correct on a Telecaster. Tele's supposed to have chrome knobs no matter what. These are really nice knobs. They're made by a company called All Parts, I believe. All Parts is an officially licensed Fender dealer. They're correct in the fact they have a small slotted screw that hold them on. These are held on by a 2mm Allen wrench, which is not correct. These are really nice heavy knobs, feel good in the hand. If you're on stage playing, a heavy knob just has a better feel to it when you're turning, especially when you got good quality potentiometers in a guitar like Fenders have. Just take a 2mm Allen wrench again, or nut driver, and we'll remove these. We'll set these off the side. Yeah, there's quite a bit of difference in the weight of these. You should feel really nice. No particular position you got to put them in, and then I'll turn them all the way down. But then you need to space these a little bit off of the metal where it's not scratching the metal and nothing bind. Use a real scientific method. This little piece of the string pack or business card would work. Just kind of lay it on either side of the post on the nut rather than the potentiometer. Push them all the way down against the paper and just tighten these up. They don't have to be super tight, just nice and snug. Then when you pull the paper out, got a small cushion in between them there. You don't have to worry about them. And that's pretty much done on the aesthetics of it. I like better now. It looks more like a proper Telecaster. Alright, well, moving on, we'll get into the setup of this thing and knock it on out. Okay, now we've got all our strings on and got it in tune. It's time to do a proper setup on the guitar, which consists of 3 things. First, you adjust the truss rod on the neck and adjust whether there's too much bow or not enough into it. Then you adjust your string height and make sure it plays well, whereas they're not too high where it's too hard to play or too low where they'll buzz. And then finally we adjust the intonation down here at the bridge and retune it, and it should be ready to go. We should have a good playing guitar once we do that. To adjust your string heights, it's actually a three-handed operation, and since most humans only have two, we're going to use a capo. This is a Kaiser capo, been around forever. They make them in several different colors, from red and black. Of course, this is plain silver one. Kaiser has been around for a long time. Maybe the best capo made. They have a great warranty. It doesn't matter if you drop it and break it or anything else, or if it breaks any time for any reason, send it back to Kaiser. They will send you a new one. There's no questions asked. They're really great. One-handed operation. We are going to fret this thing, or capo this thing at the first fret. Then we'll come down here with our other hand, with the strings, where the neck meets the body of the strings, and fret it here somewhere around the 17th fret or so. Then we'll take our filler gauge. Our filler gauge is 10 thousandths or 0.25 millimeter, if you can see that for the glare. Come down here to about the 7th fret. We'll slide on there very slow and evenly, and look for that string to raise at all. If it doesn't touch, it should just touch the string without raising, and that's pretty well an ideal neck adjustment for a Fender. If it were too high, you would actually need to loosen the truss rod just a little bit to get some of the tension out in the bow of the neck. If it was too low and the string is raising, you need to raise it up. And to do that, you need a 3/16 Allen wrench. Insert it here in the neck. You'll feel it fitting in positively. And you'll want to move this thing about a quarter of a turn at a time to tighten the neck. If the string was touching it and it was raising the string, you would actually turn it back this way, back towards you, or turn it clockwise. You turn it counterclockwise to lower it. Typically, you'll move it on an 1/8 to a quarter turn at a time. If it doesn't move, it should have some tension on it, but if it doesn't move pretty easily, I would suggest take it to a luthier. I wouldn't spray anything down in here. I would take someone who knows what they're doing so you don't ruin the wood by spraying something into it. But if you try to force it, and you ream that thing off, or you break it off or something else, you ruin the neck, and there's nothing else you can do with it. But anyway, once you have the truss rod adjusted, then it's time to move on to your string height. And to do that, we would use one of these, string action rulers. What I like to use, you can do this with a filler gauge. If you've got a filler gauge, that'll go up to 60 thousandths. Fender recommends a string height of 0.0625, which is just a little above this mark here on the 60 thousandths. I like mine right at 60 thousandths. My guitars don't buzz there, and I'm lazy. I like a low, easy playing guitar, so I'm going to adjust mine at 60 thousandths. And using the 60 thousandths, we're going to come right down here to the 17th fret, put it right on it, and the string should sit just right at the top of that mark, right at 60 thousandths, like that. And to check them all, you just continually go across it. Just check every string and make sure it's right there at the top of that. And once you have it right, a good way to check your work is with a radius gauge. These are understring neck radius gauges that come in a set. So this one starts with a 7 1/4 and runs all the way up to a 20. To show you a difference in the contrast. Now, a Telecaster, or this Telecaster, is actually a 9.5. And to check our adjustment of our strings, we come down here in the middle. It's pretty cool. You can turn them sideways. Okay. And see, if we pull up on the strings, it touches all the strings. If you don't touch them, it touches all the strings evenly without pulling any of them up. That's a good reference there. These are also good if you got to carve out a bone nut for an acoustic. You can check your neck radius with one of these and actually carve the bone nut to fit this. Then it's going to be right down here when you actually have to set your radius on your strings, because if you've got the strings that are out of whack with the fretboard, it's just going to play like crap. It's going to be terrible. To give you an idea how one of these works, we'll use this Strat neck. It's actually closer to a 10-degree radius here. And to give you an idea, so when you put this on here, it doesn't rock back and forth. You can't see any daylight in the center of it. That is actually a 10-inch radius there. Now, it goes all the way down to 7 1/2, which would have quite a bit of curvature to it. You see it in the center of that one? Kind of see. Oh, not there, you can't. You see that in the center of that one, you see daylight in between it. And it goes all the way down to a 20-inch radius, which is almost flat. 20-inch radius would be like your Strata guitars, like your Kramers and such, and see how it just rocks on this thing. Back and forth and all, which would be your shredder guitars, your heavy metal type guitars. But that's what our radius gauges are good for. Once we have our string height adjusted, then we can come down here and actually adjust the intonation of the guitar. To adjust the intonation, what that does is ideally is to have the same distance from the nut to the 12th fret, then from the 12th fret down to the saddles, get an equal length. That way when you've got an open E here, the same thing as an E here, when you play it up the necks, the notes, the pitch is exactly the same. To perform this is a pretty simple operation. You need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and we'll use our Snark electronic tuner again. And we'll start just by playing them. We'll work on the low E. We'll go ahead and bring it back up to pitch, up to tune. It's going to be out of tune after you do all this other stuff anyway. We've got a good E there. Then we fret it at the 12th fret. We'll play it again. And the intonation is actually right on this one. Try the A string. It's in tune. But see, it's sharp here at the 12th fret. See, it's in tune here, but if you start playing the upper frets here, it's going to be out of tune, which tells me the distance from the 12th fret to the saddle is too short. So we'll take our number 2 screwdriver, just put it in the end of the saddle. We'll turn it clockwise, about a half a turn to start with. I have to retune the string because it's going to raise the pitch. Just tune it. We'll try it again. And see, now we're in tune in both places. Continue that across all 6 strings, and once you get that done, this guy will be in tune, the intonation will be right, the string height will be right to your liking. It's going to play well all the way across the board, and it's going to be a much better playing instrument, and it'll make you a lot happier. A really proper setup can take a fairly inexpensive guitar and make it play as well as the most expensive models on the shelf if it's set up right and it's done right and it feels good in the player's hands. Alright, let's move on and finish this thing up. Alright, after we have our truss rod adjustment correct, next thing we're going to do is adjust our string height. Fender recommends a string height at the 17th fret of .0625 or 625 thousandths. For that, we will use this string radius gauge. I suppose you could use a filler gauge if you had one that would go to 60 thousandths or .625. It'd be a little bit above the 60 thousandths. I like mine right at 60 thousandths. That is about as low as I can get it without my strings buzzing. I'm lazy. I like to be lazy. We'd use the mark at 60 thousandths. Here at the 17th fret again. And simple, but we'll just lay it across the strings. And we'll look for that string to ride right above this mark on the 60 thousandths. Sometimes you have to get down here where you can see it. And really simply just check them all by going across the neck. And just check them all and see if they're sitting right at the top of that mark, each string. Don't pay any attention to the thickness of the string, just measure from the bottom of the string. It should ride right on top of that mark. As long as it does, you go across like that. Each string height is going to be exactly the same, and it's going to match the radius of the fretboard. And it's going to feel really good on that. If you have just the string height on most Fender guitars, even if it is the individual saddles like this, which most of them are, or if it is the 3 saddles for a Telecaster where you have to adjust either side of it, it takes a little more work to get those intonated and all. We may talk about that later on if someone has a question about it. But most all of these, if you have to adjust your string height, most all of these use a 1.5, let's get that on camera. Most all of these use a 1.5 millimeter Allen wrench where you adjust these saddles and all. And again, when you adjust these, adjust them about a half to a quarter turn at a time until you get your string height the way you want it up at the 17th fret. You can use an Allen wrench or a nut driver like these. I like these are a little bit easier to hang on to in the hand. But once you get that right, it's going to play better and it's going to feel better. And that's pretty much going to be it for our setup. We will move on and finish this guy up. Okay guys, if you watched it this far, thank you so much for hanging in there and putting up with my southern accent. I am southern to the core. I'm not apologizing for it, but if you had a little bit of trouble understanding some of this southern accent, that's okay. Remember, if Yankees move down south, we don't have an accent anymore. Y'all do. But anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you stuck with this far, you put up with it, so I appreciate that. Sharp eyes will notice in the video when we went back and did the intonation part of it, the guitar already had the chrome knobs on it. That was because the first time that I shot the video, some idiot camera guy who's trying to learn how to do this did not have the tuner in the video and the tuners together, so you couldn't see what we were trying to do setting the intonation. Hopefully that's clear. Like I said before, everything that was used, the materials that we used, the different tools, the tuner and everything, there will be links to it below. Please click on those and check those out and throw me a bone if you do want to purchase some of that stuff and go through that link. That'll help me out and help me keep these videos going, and hopefully you guys enjoy this. Next one that we will do, we'll get into my Strat over here. I've got a bad tone control in it. We're going to get into how we change out a tone control. And proper soldering techniques, some of the tools that you use if you want to do some more advanced repair work and stuff, and what I use and what's worked for me. Same tools that I used when I built this guitar amp, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. Please comment below. Please like and subscribe to the video. Please let me know what I can do to change it, what I can do to make it better, make it more entertaining. If I made mistakes, be gentle on me, but please let me know what those mistakes are, and we'll try to avoid them in the future. Let me know what you guys want to see. If you like these videos, let me know that, or let me know if what kind of repair work I can do. Hopefully as this gets a little bit better, we can get it going. We can get some new products, do a little bit of product review. I like building, I like soldering, I like electrical work, so maybe some do-it-yourself kits with guitar pedals. Maybe we'll build a guitar out of a kit later on and see what that entails, the finished work and everything else from start to finish. Built the Telecaster that's behind me. We'll talk about it in the next video probably. But with that being said, thank you so much for putting up with this and putting up with me and watching this far. Please let me know what we can do in the future. And you guys have a great one. Keep playing, keep tearing them down, and keep working, and let's keep our hobby alive. Thank you.